what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate. Science fiction on a screen so bright. Old classics and the new delights. The unapologetic geek will lead the way, with facts and fun to fill your day. Discussing every detail, every frame, from the eerie to the loud and the tame. Giggle along with all that's great. Those Sunday vibes you can't debate. Tug along with the Sunday crew. Geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate.
Welcome aboard the tugboat.
Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby, rock.
So, hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about me, my favorite subject. I do have my new book coming out this Tuesday, just a couple of days. So I figured I would just spend this stream telling you about why I'm a writer, how I became a writer, all that stuff. And, you guys can ask me anything and I will talk about it. First of all, let me say hi to the people in the chat. We have Gary Carpenter. He is back.
Hi, Gary.
Gary.
We have Just Carowin. Good to see you as always.
Carowin.
Justy.
We have Sarah Myflock.
Sarah, my girlfriend. How are you?
Yeah. And I will say hi to more people as they arrive. I want to talk about me, and it's my show.
That's right.
Soon all will be Tug.
So before we get started, let me go ahead. I did upload a little ad that I made that's not going to drop until the book drops, but I'm going to play it here for fun. Whoop. Oh, hi there. You just caught me reading this new book by my favorite novelist, E. McGill. I'm not really sure how he pronounces it. What, me? No, it's not me. Why would you think that? Anyway, if you like sci-fi horror, I really recommend this book. It's called The Caves of Solace. It takes place on this alien planet, named Solace, and these group of explorers, they go into a cave, a really, really big cave system. And the rules of reality kind of get warped and bent, and they might be stalked by ghosts, and they start seeing weird things. Anyway, it's great. It's really good. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, I highly recommend it. Again, The Caves of Solace. It's available on Amazon by E. McGill. I'm just going to get back to reading it. Thanks.
Can I call you Max?
So cute.
Max.
Real quick, let me say something, please. Sarah, my flock is everywhere. If you are listening, and I'm pretty sure you are, clip that little thing that you just saw, this little ad, make it look good, and send it to me to put up on my channel when it goes on sale, please. Thank you, my producer.
I could just send you the file, but okay.
That would be easier, but I like to make my producer work.
Okay. I don't believe I'm related to Angela Lansbury, but maybe I should look into that. That could get me a nice in. I could just say that to a potential agent or publisher, just slip that into conversation.
Maybe you'll get even luckier and be kin to Dean R. Koontz or somebody cool.
That would be awesome. Dean Koontz was one of my idols. But never meet your idols. I learned that lesson the hard way. I'm glad you say that, Slasher Fred, because Journey to the Center of the Earth actually was one of my inspirations for this book. I did definitely consult with it. I read it a couple of times. So that's awesome. Let's see, who else we got? We got Ron from England. Cheers.
Ronnie, how's it going?
Okay, everybody hold on to your butts. We got Brady.
I disagree.
Hey.
I disagree with you, Todd.
Yeah.
When you say never meet your idols, I had the pleasure of meeting one of my idols named Dave Sunstorm once. He actually came to my house.
Well, okay, yeah, that's a good.
And when Dave left, I actually thought more of him than before I met him because he's Dave Sunscore. So
Well, Andy, I would never try to compare myself to Asimov. He was a real scientist. I'm just some YouTuber.
Indeed.
Okay, yeah, that's everybody. So yeah, I've got a new book coming out. And unfortunately, I timed it really, really badly without realizing that my wife was planning a vacation at the same time I was planning publishing this book. And for whatever reason, we both decided on the same day. Like, the vacation's going to start on the same day my book publishes. So, like, I'm not going to be around really to publicize it. But I did make a bunch of videos, and I will have them coming up on this channel. And hopefully that'll be helpful. But for now, I just want to talk about how I got to this point. Because it's been a very long road to get to this point. I will start by telling a story that I'm pretty sure I've told on this channel before, but I'm going to tell it again anyway, because it's my channel. Going all the way back to 5th grade. I was very little back then. And we had an assignment to write a short story called Night of the Animals. That was all we were told, was the short story had to be called Night of the Animals. It could be about anything. And so what happened was, around the same time we got this assignment, I came down with strep throat, and they decided to take out my tonsils. So I was out of school for like 3 weeks because my tonsils were taken out. And during that time, I had nothing better to do. So I figured, hey, I'll actually do my homework. Because back then, my go-to strategy was always to wait till the last minute and then start crying to my mother. And then she would basically do my homework for me. Because I was that kind of kid.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But since I had nothing better to do other than, watch what's that show with the whammies, the game show with the
Press Your Luck.
Press Your Luck. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of that when I had my stress messed up. So I wrote the story. I gave it to a friend who was in my class, and he gave it to the teacher and all that stuff. Turned in all my assignments, and I didn't think anything more of it. I wrote a short story about my pet gerbils escaping one night and having an adventure. That was my story. It was like 3 pages long. I didn't think much of it, honestly. But then I came back to school, and it was a Monday. And as soon as I get back to school, people are like looking at me and coming up to me and saying how much they really liked my story about the animals. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And, the story with the gerbils. I'm like, the short story I wrote for class? Like, why do you know about my story? Apparently what happened is the teacher, Mr. Rudzik, who later went on to become the principal, he decided to read my short story to the class because he liked it that much. He thought it was the best story that got turned in that day. And everybody in the class, even kids who didn't like me, kids that I had fought with, like literally fought with, because I was a troublemaker. Even they liked the story, and they came up to me and applauded me for the story. And these are kids in the 80s. Kids in the 80s were different. But I got that feeling of like recognition, of validation, of, I put something out there in the world that people actually liked, and I got drunk off of that feeling. And from that day forward, I've been a writer. I've been chasing that high ever since. And so I've written many books. I've only published the 2, but I've written a lot. And I tried. Okay, let's jump ahead. In college, I wrote Paradox, the first version of Paradox, not the version I published, but the first version of Paradox. And everybody I showed it to really, really liked it. So I decided I was going to try to get this one published. This was the one that I thought was good enough to try to publish, because as a writer, and anybody who's in any kind of creative field knows, you are your own worst critic. Everything that I thought I had written before that, I thought was crap. Even Paradox, I thought, this is really flawed. I can do better than this. I know I can do better than this. I just got to get back to it. But I ignored that, and I tried to get it published. I tried to do it the right way. I tried sending out query letters to publishers, and then query letters out to agents. And I was going to writers' conferences, and I was talking to people in the business. I was trying to get my foot in the door through personal connections. I was doing everything. I was doing everything right. And nothing happened. I have a stack of rejection letters that it got to the point where I started throwing them away after I reached, I think, about 150.
Wow.
'Cause that every single one of those hurt, by the way. So when I hear stories of published authors who come out and say, it was really difficult for me starting out. I had a stack of rejection letters. It was like 10 letters high. And I felt like crap. I didn't think I was going to keep going. I'm like, shut up. So then I wrote another book, Thessia, which was less sci-fi, more horror. It was very horror focused. And this book, when I left college and eventually moved up to Maryland, I got involved with the Maryland Writers Association. And this book got the 2007 New Novel of the Year award.
Wow.
And so I figured, okay, fine. This is the one that I will publish. So again, I did the whole circuit. I talked to writers' conferences. I did this. I did that. I did everything. I even got an agent for a little while who really liked Thessia and really liked how I sold it and how I talked about it. Because I talked about the real life story that inspired it and all this other stuff. I don't want to go too much into that because I do plan on publishing Thessia eventually. And even she couldn't quite get it past the finish line, and she had to drop me as a client because of that, because, agents work on commission. If they can't actually get it published, they don't make any money. Like, I wasn't paying her. So, and yes, Emily, those authors are probably lying about the number of rejections letters they received. When I started talking to some writers, like at writers' conferences, like face to face, there's this mother-daughter pair of mystery writers whose names elude me at the moment because I have the memory of a goldfish. And they talked to me and they said, yeah, we got hundreds of rejections. It's just how it works. And the only reason the daughter was able to have a successful career is because her mom had a successful career. I mean, that happens. I mean, look at Stephen King's son and Anne Rice's son.
Wow.
So anyway, I got fed up. I got tired of banging my head against the wall, feeling like bruised and battered and beaten and just, ignored. That's just how it felt. So I decided, screw it. I'm just going to publish it myself. Amazon was starting to do the whole Kindle direct publishing thing. They called it something else. Then they called it like Create Space, I think. I started doing that, figuring, it's the democratization of the publishing industry, even though prior to this point, I had been told again and again and again and again and again and again that self-publishing was a death sentence to your career. You will never recover if you self-publish your book. No publisher will ever take you seriously if you do that. And I said, you know what? The idea of being a career writer is a nice dream, but I wasn't really thinking it was going to be realistic. Like, that's not something I was going to achieve if I kept doing it this way. And so I decided, screw it, I'll just publish it. And I will give it to, my 10 friends and family members who I know will read it. And, hopefully I'll sell a few online. And that's what I did. And I did that with Paradox. And I published it. I did rewrite it basically from scratch, but it was actually very easy. I did it in like 2 weeks. And then I published that. And I didn't put a whole lot of effort into publicizing it or anything. I just put it out there because I was done. I just wanted it out there. I wanted to have something published so I could say I was a published writer, even though I did it myself. And that happened. And yeah, I made maybe $300, nothing. But I did get feedback from people who I had never met. And that's what I wanted. That was that validation. That was the kids in elementary school coming up to me, telling me they liked my story. And that kind of fed me for a good while, and started me on this YouTube journey through other means that I don't need to get into today. So what you're saying is, if I ever actually write the book I want to, I should tell people I'm your sister. Well, if I become a famous if I become famous, yes. Otherwise, I don't think I'll help you much.
Emily. Cute.
Yeah, let's see. Going back to high school, I did take a creative writing course, and my teacher there, he told me that I had more talent than most of the kids who come into his class. And he said that I shouldn't waste it. I should definitely do something with it. And later in life, those words kept ringing in my ears. And I'm like, I can't get this published the right way. So I'm going to do it the wrong way because I just want it out there. I don't want to waste all this time and effort that I'm putting into writing. And yeah, for me, it's still the most important thing I do other than maybe being a dad. You know, this YouTube thing is a fun hobby and all, but I'm still a writer at heart. So when my son got into caving, you know, just a few years ago, we started going around the country, going into all these caves. I started thinking, you know, what if we're in a cave system on an alien planet? What would that look like? So I started doing some research into that. I started, you know, emailing some actual scientists, some geologists and stuff. And I started, you know, the idea started forming in my brain for the Caves of Solace, the book that is being published on Tuesday. And let's see. I'm into sci-fi, I'm into horror, so everything I write is pretty much sci-fi horror. This book is very much sci-fi horror. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. You guys can ask me questions. We can just go from there.
Right at the gate, and I'm really certain this has never come up, which I think is baffling considering our association over these years. But when did you decide that sci-fi horror was your genre? What was the event that made you realize that that was where you were most comfortable in?
Well, I can say I started as just pure horror. Like, even that short story I wrote in 5th grade about my gerbils escaping in the night, even that had elements of horror in it. It was written kind of like a horror story from the gerbils' point of view, in that cutesy, you know, 5th grader kind of way. I've read it recently and just been like, oh, this is cute. But, you know, like, and I read a lot of horror back then. I read a lot of Stephen King. I read, like, we were talking in the green room about Dean Koontz. He was one of my idols. I read pretty much everything Dean Koontz ever wrote up to that point, which was a lot. Dean Koontz was extremely prolific. So horror was just kind of natural to me. And also it was what really like jazzed me up, because, you know, I saw Alien way too young, and it really influenced me. You know, a lot of stuff like that. I liked slasher movies because, you know, I was a kid of the 80s. And sci-fi, I'd always had a love for it. And I think my love of sci-fi is really just down to I love my dad, and I'm always trying to be like my dad, and my dad loved sci-fi, so therefore I love sci-fi, you know, that kind of thing. And I feel like the two go together so well, like Alien. It's a perfect example. That's disgusting, Indy.
Ooh.
Yikes. So
I'm sorry, I'm not really paying attention to the comments.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now have you written like little short stories in between, or just little ramblings and things like that?
Oh, sure. I haven't written a lot of short stories recently in the last like 10 years or so, but I used to write short stories all the time. And
ever think of publishing them?
I actually have published a short story. In the let me go get it. In fact, give me a second.
We'll wait here.
Talk amongst yourselves.
You should have been married. You had the magazine laying there. You knew it might come up. Well, he said talk about him. I'm just kidding, man. Make such a laugh.
But I'm bumped.
Talk about the
I
room.
can't believe I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's like that story you were telling about your gerbil. If you still have it, that'd be a nice kid's book.
I've actually considered that. I need to find an illustrator because I can't draw.
And maybe even more worse, you could give it a little rewrite, add some stuff to it, and put out your version of Watership Down.
Yeah.
Speaking of traumatized me as a kid, yeah. But no, this is Dark Moon Digest. Doesn't exist anymore. They put out a competition for the best horror writers. And because of my entry, they changed it from the contest for the best horror writer to the best sci-fi horror writer. My entry was so good. And I did win, and I got published. And my story was called Somatoform Purgatory, which is a very English major title.
I was going to say.
It basically just means like a God. How do you describe what somatoform means?
I am racking my brains. I'm like trying.
Like, do you know what psychosomatic means? Like something that you think is real, but it's not, like a phantom limb or something. So that's basically what somatoform means. And purgatory, obviously, purgatory. My story is about a guy who wakes up from an experiment where he was having his brain mapped so that they could put it into an android. Based on the Blue Brain project, if you know what that is. Like in real life, people are actually trying to like map a human brain and stick it in digitally into a computer. I find that kind of fascinating that people are trying to do that. And what if it actually worked? So the twist in my short story, if I may spoil my own story, is that he's not actually himself. He is the android. He just thinks he's himself. And so he's experiencing kind of this warped perception of reality as his brain tries to reason with what it's perceiving and what it thinks is real. And it's all it's very David Lynchian, very confusing. And it's very horror focused because he's dealing with all these phantoms.
Sounds like one of them episodes of the Twilight Zone.
It's very much Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Sterling, another one of mine.
I know I would like this. You know?
I just got a Blade Runner flashback.
It has a lot of Blade Runner in there too. Yeah.
if you want to take away the ambiguous ending, it's Blade Runner.
No, like, and yeah, kind of like Dan O'Bannon. When people ask me what I'm inspired by, I say basically everything. Like I steal from everything. That's just how I am. I think all writers do that. It's just different degrees of honesty about it. James Cameron.
I look at it the same way musicians do, because there's songs that are using the same 3 chords and things like that, and people used to use like they used to do television shows and do things of the same nature, and they would take something from this one and take something from that one. So I think it's just all in the creative process that you're going to be exposed to something you want to write in your own words,
Well, yeah. I think all sci-fi horror is basically an homage.
Sure.
We saw cool sci-fi horror as a kid and adapted different versions into one amalgam. And that's fine as long as you're not derivative.
Yeah, I think you don't want to directly copy one thing. You want to be inspired by a whole lot of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You just take little elements.
I think the last truly original sci-fi horror concept was Frankenstein. That was like 200 years ago.
And she wasn't even a sci-fi writer.
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't even a sci-fi writer. Science fiction wasn't even really thought of as a thing back then. Yes, I know technically science fiction existed, but for simplicity's sake of the narrative, people like to call Frankenstein the first science fiction story.
Wow. I did not know that.
The good news is I do still have the rights to Somatoform Purgatory. I did not sell those away because I am smart. And so I have been working behind the scenes on a collection of short stories that I will put in its own little anthology book. But I'm not quite done with it yet. I still need like 2 or 3 more stories to put in there. And yeah, Somatoform Purgatory would obviously be like the headliner. But I'm not going to name the whole book after it because that's a mouthful.
Well, Ryan Reynolds' best work were actually collections of his short stories. He usually found some really cool framing device. Like in one of them, they were supposedly chronological in the history of Earth, post-apocalyptic Earth. Others were actually taking place in different spots in a galactic empire. So again, oftentimes the framing device was almost superfluous, but it was a great way to take all of his short stories and put them together into one book. And his short stories, I think, by and large, were better than his full-length books. I think because he would actually get bored with his own concept sometimes.
No, at the risk of offending Emily, who is in the chat, by the way. Hello, Emily. I will say I feel that way about Stephen King. I think his short stories are great. I think his novels are not so great. I think he's a better writer when he's writing short fiction.
1,175 pages is way too long for anything.
Yes.
I think my favorite Stephen King story might be a short story, The Night Flyer.
Oh, The Night Flyers. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. And yeah, I think my favorite Stephen King story is also a short story. The Ballad of the Flexible Bullet. It's the last story in Skeleton Crew. Check it out.
Wow.
It's about a writer because, Stephen King.
Yeah. The Mist is my favorite, and that's bordering on novella, but it's still
that's like the one of four seasons stories. Yeah.
And I'm frozen. I'll be right back in.
Okay.
Yeah, you look amazed though.
The Stand is really good. I will give you that, Emily. The Stand is extremely
It is
long, but it's
good.
also very good.
Yeah.
I love The Stand. I like a lot. I like a lot of Stephen King stuff. Only 2 or 3 of his movies annoy me. The one I hate the most is probably Thinner.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I was really big and fat when I seen that, and for some reason it really bothered me.
That was back when he was still publishing his lesser novels as Richard Bachman. So yeah.
I
remember I
Misery.
read Thinner by Richard Bachman, not realizing Richard Bachman was Stephen King, and I'm like, this guy has the same bad grammar as Stephen King. What is that? And then later in life, I figured out that Stephen King uses bad grammar on purpose, and that pissed me off.
Good Lord, I can't remember the name of it, but it had the lion people that sucked your energy.
Oh, that. The werecats or whatever. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name of it neither. It's a piece of crap.
I'm sure somebody will tell us. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Langoliers is pretty bad too.
Okay.
Langoliers is a cool concept. I really like the story of the Langoliers. The movie's terrible.
Except for the special effects and the overacting of Belky.
Yeah, Sleepwalkers is what you're thinking of, Danny.
Sleepwalkers. I couldn't remember that to save my life.
Okay. Now we know some of the horror writers that really inspired you, but who were the science fiction writers that really inspired you to write when you were a kid?
Well, the 2 big ones. 3. There's 3 big ones. First of all, Michael Crichton, because he is so easy to read. You could pick up and read a Michael Crichton book and be done by the end of the day. I love that about Michael Crichton. And you'll have learned things about some niche scientific concept that you didn't know about before. You know, like I had never heard of chaos theory. I read Jurassic Park for the dinosaurs. I came away knowing chaos theory. I love that about Michael Crichton. I think he's one of the coolest sci-fi writers about that. And then, of course, there's the 2 granddaddies. There's Asimov and Clarke. Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke. I read pretty much everything I could get my hands on. Asimov, I think, is the king of pulpy sci-fi. He did some of his Empire series and, of course, Foundation. Great stuff. His robots heavily inspired me. And then, Arthur C. Clarke, way more technical, definitely on the hard end of hard sci-fi. And his characters are usually terrible. Arthur C. Clarke does not write good characters. But 2001, the book, in addition to the movie, it's probably one of the most mind-bending things I've ever read, and it really it changed just my perspective on everything.
I apologize for always making fun of Clarke. Then I didn't realize
it's totally fine. It's totally fine. I don't take it personally at all. I don't think Arthur C. Clarke is actually a very good writer. I just really like how he integrates science and comes up with stories. I do think Rendezvous with Rama is his greatest work, and it's one that's never been adapted to the screen despite being extremely visual.
It is being adapted, though, is it? Didn't you tell me it's being adapted? It's
that's been true for about 30 years, but it does look like it is finally going to happen. Denis Villeneuve, the director who did Blade Runner 2049, the sequel, and the Dune movies, and Arrival, and other movies that film nerds like me really like, he's making it. Because he says he's been trying to get it. I mean, he's been getting in touch with David Fincher, who owns the rights, because David Fincher has been trying to make it for decades, along with Morgan Freeman, who has aged out of the part that he wanted to play.
Just on they were making. So it's sort of a John Carter of Mars conundrum.
Kind of, yeah. It's been in development hell for so long that, I'll believe it when it's out. Kind of like Neuromancer, which I think is coming out in just a couple of weeks. I still don't believe it until I see it.
I saw that movie. I saw that John Carter Warlord of Mars movie. They should have left it in development.
Well, when you are working on a movie for 75 years, there's no way it can't be a disappointment.
Yeah, 75 years.
I am not joking.
I know.
1920s. That's the crazy thing. And when they finally did make it sucked.
And going back to Stephen King.
Yes, Indy. Heinlein does deserve to be on that list, but of course this is Tug's chat. So
yeah, I didn't discover Heinlein until a little bit later. Don't get me wrong. When I was doing my blog before my YouTube channel really took off, I was doing every summer I would cover a granddaddy of science fiction. I did Asimov, I did Clarke, then I did Heinlein. Heinlein was my third choice. So
wow.
I do definitely respect Heinlein, and I love Heinlein. I've read a lot of Heinlein. But anyway, getting back to Stephen King, one of the things I do love about Stephen King is his books on writing, like his books talking to other writers about the writing process and like what he has learned over his career. I think that kind of stuff is really helpful and is really, I've taken a lot of that to heart. The write every day mantra, which Stephen King didn't come up with that, but he definitely leans into it really hard. Because if you don't, it's not like riding a bike. You do kind of lose it if you stop working on it. If you stop practicing, you stop writing, it does kind of fade. And when you try to get back on the horse, it's hard. It's way harder than it needs to be, and that's how you get blocked. And Stephen King, like you were saying with development, he said if you spend more than a year on a project, you should abandon it. Which he didn't take his own advice, because I think he was working on it for 6 years. And I've let my feelings be known about it before, so I'm not going to get into that again. So yeah, like I said, Stephen King, I do think he's a very, very intelligent guy. And I know that the things that annoy me as a writer about his style are entirely intentional. The dude used to be an English teacher. He knows how to write properly. That's another reason why I think his short stories are better. He actually writes properly. But that's neither here nor there. That's just me being a snob.
May I say this, that it translates really good to audiobook the way he writes.
It's true. Yeah. He's very conversational.
If you go to the Stephen King Book Club channel here on YouTube, they got some wonderful Stephen King audiobooks up there that are great to listen to on trips or whatever. And there's nothing better than having something like Stephen King's It read to you by the incredible William Shatner.
Oh wow!
I always had a working theory that King was taking a page from Steinbeck, and I'm going to have my character speaking in a very conversational manner to develop a flavor for it. But Steinbeck did something that I always found very jarring. When he was writing the dialogue, it was conversational. When he was writing expositional, he was trying to impress you by showing you how many big words he knew.
Yeah.
And it was like you were constantly shifting gears, like because you're trying to listen in sharecropper mode, and then all of a sudden he becomes like a Mid-Atlantic professor, and I'm like, my mind can only focus on one type of unspoken language at a time. So King just sort of leaned into it and said, "This is the way my characters will be talking, so this is the way I shall be talking."
No, and I totally understand it. I totally get it. It's a fine line. I think every writer, or a blurry line every writer has to walk between trying to tell a good story and just showing off. You want to not show off so much. So usually if I'm editing something I've written and I find a bunch of big words or really complicated grammar that I'm just throwing in there to play around with words, I'm like, okay, take that out. That's not necessary. That's just me showing off. And yes, Emily, I can mix my metaphors whenever I want. I have a poetic license.
Emily. Hey, Emily, I love you, girl.
Oh, and Kevin, I was down English major, European history, but I did take a lot of and you know exactly what I mean about Steinbeck. you know exactly. Steinbeck, and indeed, he was just very. He had a weird style. I loved his work, but it was a very jarring writing style.
I'm not going to go into the great detail of it, but I was a really lazy writer in my college days. I really was. And I wrote a series of Western books. And I really would like to tell people on YouTube about it, but I'll tell you behind the scenes. I'll show them to you in person, but I'm not going to bring them out on a live stream and let people steal these wonderful ideas I had. But I wrote a series of Western books, and to be a dismal cheat at grammar and to be a dismal cheat at not using big, hard to explain words, I wrote it in a diary form of the guy from 1807, all hillbilly style, Look at that there big fella.
Indy, what's that called? An epistolary? Where it's a story that's told from the point of view of like a diary or something, like Frankenstein.
More of a diary, thing where it's all wrote like somebody from that time period would in that
Dracula
language.
is the same way. Yeah.
I've always found
But
it a
this
very
is really
entertaining
good.
format.
I have not read anything by Herbert Selby Jr., but I do remember you bringing him up before. You know what? I got my post-it notes right here. I will write it down.
You see, when I was in school,
Of course,
I
now I
wasn't
need a pen.
exactly the best writer. My grammar is kind of like long, and I didn't know exactly where to put the right punctuations and use the right terminology. For me to articulate was very hard.
It's
Um,
really easy to get so wrapped up in that you lose track of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You get really self-conscious about every single
Mhm.
word and every little piece of grammar. You got to learn to push through that. Just get it
Yeah.
out and then say, you know, I'll deal with that in post. I'll deal with that in editing.
Mhm.
You know, and that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. Oh, got it right. Thank you, Indy. I love it when
Yeah, I never had it
speaking of big
easy.
English major words.
But coming into doing art, it was like that was my calling. 'Cause
Good.
I ended up a graphic designer for a while. You
No,
know,
and I think at
and
heart,
that's
all
why I was
creative
in
endeavors
college.
are kind of the same. You're
Yeah.
putting yourself out there.
hmm
You know, you want people to recognize your work for
Mhm.
what it is, and you know, you just want to be appreciated, right?
Yeah, it's like see, but I'm not like the drawing type of artist. I'm a
You're a
graphic
graphic designer.
designer.
Yeah.
So my stuff is more bread and butter kind of, as opposed to having stuff hanging in a gallery. But yeah, it's hard. And then the thing too is you're right about the rejection. God, dog.
It hurts. It
You get
hurts so bad.
yeah. It comes along with any kind of creative territory you explore. I
And
think.
it's like the Wolverine claws. The pain never diminishes over
Exactly.
time.
Every single time you put
It's
them out, it hurts.
just as
Yep.
exquisite. You know?
It's like a knife to your heart, you know.
I mean, you can learn to endure it, but it's not going to become lessened.
And you have to learn to separate criticism from rejection because those are two
Yeah.
very different things.
Oh,
And
yeah.
criticism is very helpful. Like I've gotten to the point now where if I give my book to somebody and they give it back to me and say, "Yeah, I like it," I'm like, "Screw you! I want to hear everything that's wrong with it. Tell me everything that's
yeah.
wrong."
Don't
so I can
whitewash
fix
the
it in the next
walls.
one. You know?
If
Yeah.
I wanted fun and praise, I'd talk to my mother.
Exactly. And actually, my mother's one of my best critics.
That's so
Actually,
true.
My first and foremost critic is my wife. She reads a lot. So I'm always giving her my stuff, and she's always giving me like the best criticism. So one of the reasons I married her.
That's cool.
Now, Tug, I have a question for you. When you were writing, any of your books, how many times, if you've done this, have you just sat down and basically rewritten them?
I've actually only while writing, backing up and starting over, I've done that more times than I could count, like a bajillion times. But having a complete story and then going back and rewriting it from scratch, I've only done that the once with Paradox. I'm planning on doing it again with Thessia, either later this year or sometime next year, because that's a book that means a lot to me because it won that award and I still have it framed on my wall.
I ask because opinion is divided among writers. Some say this, I have to rewrite. It's almost like the expression with artists use, where art is never complete; it's just abandoned. So
Yeah.
it's like they'll reread it. They go, nope, I have to rewrite it so I can change this, that, this, and that. But oftentimes, other writers say when you do that, it becomes watered down. It's like reusing a water balloon. It just doesn't have the same.
I am very stubborn about never deleting anything I've written, and that includes things that I've rewritten. Like if I have an earlier draft of something, I keep it. And what will happen is after I rewrite it, I will go back and I will read what the original was, and I'll try to take whatever worked in the original version and put it in the newer version, stuff that maybe I glossed over or watered down. It sounds painstaking, but it's really not nearly as hard as it sounds.
Wait a minute. Please tell me you have printed out paper copies of everything you've written and don't.
Oh, absolutely. I've got a gigantic pile down there. Yeah.
Okay, don't trust the computer.
No, I don't trust the computer. And also I have a hard drive backup. I have a flash drive backup that I keep on my keys. I've got backups of backups of backups.
Good. Yeah.
And I don't trust the cloud, even though I still do use it as a backup, but I don't trust it at all.
Right.
I trust nothing digital.
I lost a short story when I was probably about 18.
Oh no.
And it felt like I got stabbed. I get
I'm
hurt so bad.
sure.
And I have made it a point never to lose anything since then. And I've succeeded so far. Even when I got struck by lightning, my house got struck by lightning, and I lost everything on my computer.
Everything I have ever written in my entire life has been in a notebook with pencil or paper and ink or typed. And never have I put nothing on a computer to save it.
Indy, this is a really good point. It kind of goes to what Thrash was talking about learning when to put the pen down or stop typing. You can try your hardest to make something perfect to the point that you think it'll be absolutely the greatest thing, and this is the version I want published. You'll never get there, ever. It'll never happen. You have to stop at some point, and you have to know when to stop, and that is a very tricky thing. I'm still working on it. I still don't know when to do that, because if it's flawed, sometimes that makes it better. Like sometimes the flaw, like what's that art form, the Japanese pottery where they like paint the cracks in gold. Or is it Chinese? I don't know, Eastern pottery of some kind. They like actually highlight the flaws, and it's actually very pretty. It looks better than it did when it was flawless. So yeah, I agree with that, Indy. I agree with that a lot.
But I agree with you, Tug, too. It's like, how many times can I look at like a blank piece of paper, a blank canvas, or or something, or sketchbook, and it's like the page is blank, and I can't get it out. I can't get the thought process to be stuck to the paper, if you get what I'm saying.
I do. I completely understand what you're saying. My nightmare is not necessarily a completed book that I want to fix. That's something I can handle. My nightmare is a blank page.
That's it.
That's the worst. Sometimes I will just like type on my keyboard complete gibberish nonsense just to fill half the page so that I'm not looking at blankness, because that's the worst.
See, for me, it's like I feel like a deer in the headlights.
Shining right there, but might need to get checked out.
I will say Stephen King definitely understands his characters when they're writers. He's writing about what he knows.
Yeah, big time too, because he's got all these books with like over 500 pages in there.
Yeah. Kintsugi. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
Kintsugi. Yeah, that's it. It's beautiful stuff. You should look it up. It's good stuff. Oh man, I miss when in the old days of Star Trek, and like I think the first half of Star Trek Next Generation, when they would just take scripts from anybody. Like you could submit a script and they might actually make it. They did that a few times. Like fans sent in scripts all the time, and eventually some of them got through. Wow. I think the best episode of Next Generation was written by a nobody, The Inner Light, the one where Picard goes into like this alternate reality and lives a whole life.
Yeah.
And the probe had mind wiped him or whatever. Yeah. And he learns the flute. It's one of the best episodes, and it was written by somebody who'd never written anything before.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That's awesome. That's like such a heartwarming story for me. But yeah, Star Trek doesn't do that anymore. Now they have a writer's room who are all like checking boxes.
Oh God.
And we get things like Starfleet Academy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why you not like that?
Vulcan Death Grip.
Vulcan.
Oh,
I don't.
God, Indy, that's so funny.
I do not hate Strange New Worlds.
No, Strange New Worlds is great. I like Strange. I still need to watch more of it. I've only watched like the first season, and there's like 4 seasons now.
I haven't got around to season 2 yet.
Yeah, I think I'm the one who convinced you to start watching it. Yeah. Out of all the new Trek, it's the only really good one in my opinion. So yeah, that's me.
That's cool.
I like writing. Words are fun.
Good stories about Rocky Horror Picture Show and you wearing nylons.
Oh God!
I will not be writing stories about me.
He'll never show us.
Nope, that's never
Not
finding its
even
way on
in
the
person.
internet. Even if I showed it for one frame, it would wind up everywhere.
With your writing, would you think it would be more conducive to a feature film or, say, a Netflix miniseries?
It depends. When I wrote Paradox, I kind of thought of it as a feature film, but really, if you read it, it's more, there's a lot going on. And I don't think if you tried to condense that into 2 or even 3 hours, you could do it justice because there's just so much and so many characters. I feel like that would be more of a Netflix series. With the new one, The Caves of Solace, the problem is it's basically 2 stories. There's basically 2 parallel stories going on in this book. and you can't really do that in a movie. But it's not, I don't think there's enough here. It's not like Paradox. It's not super dense and complicated. The story is actually pretty straightforward in this one. I don't think it could work for either, actually. That's why it's a novel.
Well, it's funny because I remember when I was a kid, I'd be like, this would make a great TV show. This would make a great movie. This would make a great, and as you say, would make a great anything. But I think as we move forward and we find that most novelizations seem to work better when you can take them into parts and present each part as opposed to have to condense it into 105-minute movie. I just thought that would be something that you would reflect upon, and clearly you have. So
I mean, every writer thinks it, whether they admit it or not. I think every writer thinks about it. Like, what would this look like on screen as a TV series or as a movie? And I'm
Michael Crichton admitted.
Yeah, Michael Crichton was writing books for the screen. Like Jurassic Park, he specifically wrote to be a movie.
And make him a millionaire so he could retire.
And it worked.
And for his sake.
And then, I read something like Dean Koontz, and I think Dean Koontz, his books feel like they would make for great movies, but almost every Dean Koontz movie is terrible.
Well, I was reading it,
man.
I like Phantoms. I know, Dan.
Who wrote Ender's Game? I'm drawing a blank.
There's another one too about
Orson Scott Card.
Thank you.
There's another really good one about a dog and a creature.
Watchers. They've made that like 5 times, and all of them are weird.
The first one's really pretty good.
It's a good movie. It's not a very good adaptation, but it is a good movie.
Well, it was so funny. Apparently, when they were doing Ender's Game, they wanted to make it into another franchise. And then they approached Orson Scott Card. I don't know how this didn't come up before this, but I think Orson Scott Card said you can't turn the second one into a movie. It's just not filmable.
Yeah, the second book is no way. Yeah, you can't do that.
And everybody said, well, great, now what do we do? And of course, the first one didn't do particularly well anyway. So, but I'm like, what was your Ender's Game, I should say? If you can't film the second one, how do you get to the rest of the franchise?
Right. Because the second one, the follow-up to Ender's Game was Speaker for the Dead, which is about Ender coming to terms with the fact that he just genocided an entire race. Spoiler alert.
Well, if you haven't seen the first one.
And he goes to this alien planet where there are these little creatures that they don't think are sentient. They call them piggies, and they're small and they're cute, but they're also kind of deadly. And then they take people who have died or actually kill people and put them in the earth so that trees can grow out of them because they believe in the cycle of nature and all this stuff. And it's really gruesome, and I can't imagine them trying to make a movie out of that. It doesn't. And a lot of it takes place inside Ender's head, because a lot of the book is him, communing with the queen egg that he has of the species he just genocided in the previous book. Yeah, there's no way you can make that into a movie or even a TV series. It's too much. It's a great book, though. I highly recommend it.
It sounds like
it's better than the first one.
It is better than the first one, honestly.
In fact, the first one was the kickoff.
If you read the entire Ender's Game series, which I have, Ender's Game is probably the worst of all of them. There's even another version of Ender's Game taken from the point of view of the kid being the really. I'm trying to remember the name of the book. I think it's Shadow of Ender or something like that. And it's a better telling of the same story of Ender's Game. So Orson Scott Card kept improving on it. And the movie was not very good. It wasn't it wasn't as terrible as some people say it is, but it wasn't very good.
Well, it eliminated one of my favorite plot points. Is his brother in the movie is just this small-minded bully. No, his brother is and it really fit with what we see going on in this day and age. He's basically a podcaster.
Yeah.
And he comes up with this plan on how to corner the market where his own sister takes the left and he takes the right, and he basically turns himself into a Rush Limbaugh type.
Yeah. And they play off each other.
Subplot, and they just omit it. And I'm like
I also feel like they didn't do justice to the whole idea of Ender having to learn all these 3D zero gravity fighting sequences, and how, no matter what odds he was facing, it was never fair. It was never supposed to be fair. In fact, it was supposed to be as unfair as possible, but he kept finding ways to do it. And I don't think the movie really leaned into that at all. And I feel like that was one of the most important elements of Ender's character. So, anyway.
And also, the general keeps saying, when the war is over, we can discuss the ethics of using children as combatants, and it becomes his raison d'etre. And they do. They have him executed. So it's like, there's finally a payoff. Remember when you said we'd have to revisit it after the war? Well, guess what? We have. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Going back to what I was saying before, the publishing industry used to say around, the mid 2000s and before, if you self-publish, it's a death sentence. You'll never, ever become anything. That's not true anymore, like at all. That's not even remotely true anymore. Some of the biggest writers who are putting out new stuff today, like Andy Weir, who just had his Operation Hail Mary, he was self-published. Netflix is constantly buying stuff from self-published writers who haven't done too well. Even like The Tomorrow War, which was a successful self-published novel, became its own thing on Netflix. I've never seen it, but it's well regarded. So, I mean, in this day and age, I do think the democratization of publishing has happened. It is possible to make it as a self-published writer.
I actually think Richard Dolan and Graham Hancock are self-publishing.
Yeah, a lot of people are now. And yeah, it's actually a little bit easier to break into the industry that way than it used to be. And it's getting harder and harder to do it the right way because the market is shrinking because people aren't reading as much as they used to. But that's just been the trend for hundreds of years now. So,
So there are no more old-timey agents walking around.
There are a few, but they're mostly interested in what's called literary fiction, which is stuff that only publishers like.
Got it.
And you'll see before Trump, you'll see like the president walking around with one of them. Like Obama used to walk around with all these like literary fiction novels that nobody had ever read and nobody ever would read. It's books for people who want to feel like they're smart. And as somebody who likes to watch pretentious movies and sometimes read pretentious books, I get it. I will read literary fiction, but I'm never going to write that stuff. I don't have the patience for that. It's awful. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, if you want to make it as a writer, go ahead, self-publish. Don't be afraid of it. I go like to the farmer's market or to like craft fairs at the local schools or whatever, and I'll see at least one or two places where somebody is actually trying to sell their self-published stuff. It could be like a local writer who's just writing about like local history, or it could be just like a teenage kid who just wrote her first book and she wants to get it out there. And I love that stuff. And that's actually one of the things I'm going to start doing next year. Now that I have 2 books instead of just one, I'm probably going to do that. I'm probably going to open up booths at the farmer's market, just try to sell my book, just a couple hours every Saturday.
Maybe you should try picking up the phone and calling a couple of bookstores and talking to the owner and see if they want to sponsor.
Yeah, I do know that Barnes & Noble is open to that. And we do still actually have a Barnes & Noble in town. It's half an hour away, but it's here.
Same here.
So yeah, and I will, especially if this book starts getting some decent reviews. So look, if you buy this book digitally or physical, I don't care. I mean, I prefer physical. Obviously, I make more money, but I don't really care. What I really want
I got a plan. I got a plan for everybody. Everybody watching, everybody listening. What I want you to do tomorrow is start picking up your phone and calling all the bookstores in your area and asking them, "Hey, I got that book." Do it.
Oh, that's cool. There's a lot of mom and pop bookstores too,
Oh yeah, sure.
Barnes and Noble.
I get enough phone calls asking about it. They'll probably order a bunch of copies.
Yeah, you can even like I could even take a box to like the local thrift store and they'd put it on sale. And
like here, we've got
It's
mom
not
and pop bookstore on the north side of town, and it's a pretty big one, and they have new and used books.
There used to be a haven of those old vintage used bookstores here on Cape Cod, and more of them are just disappearing. It's giving me such a feeling of
sad. I grew up in a mystery bookstore pretty much. They only sold mysteries and science fiction.
I blame Amazon.
What else is there?
Because if you want a book now, you don't go to the bookstore. You go on eBay or Amazon and order it.
Now
Which will
And yeah,
probably be-
local library. I actually did that with Paradox. There's actually like
Wow.
2 copies of Paradox at my local library.
Oh, cool.
They only took 2. I asked them to take more, but they only took 2. So somebody out there has borrowed it from the library, I'm sure, and read it.
Cool.
They didn't leave me an Amazon review though.
Dang.
So since Indy asked, yes, this is the link for the ebook version of my new book, because I can only put that one up for pre-order for whatever reason. I'm not going to have a link to the actual physical copy until it publishes, because Amazon is going to Amazon. I think I kind of understand the reasoning. It's got something to do with like people putting it out and then like getting a few pre-order copies and then taking it off so that they don't actually have to go through with publishing it, and they just get like a bunch of copies for cheap. I can understand why they have to do it that way. It's kind of annoying though. I really wish I could put pre-orders for my physical copies.
Yeah, I'm like, I know few people have done that.
It's annoying. I think if I get a certain number of books published, or like I make enough, or I don't get enough clout, I don't know, they might give me a break. I don't know. I
Is
have
it
to
the
talk
same
to people
publisher?
at Amazon. It's Amazon. Amazon is the publisher. Like, it's
Oh,
just
I
through
see.
Kindle.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know they did that.
They've been doing that for years. In fact, they're like they're
Wow.
kind of spearheading the new self-published movement that's been going on for 20 years now.
Wow.
Which method makes me the most money? Definitely buying the physical copy makes me a lot more money. The digital version makes me like $1, whereas the physical copy makes me like $10. So
Wow.
if I sold it for even more money, I could make even more money, but I don't do that because that's ridiculous. I'm not gonna make much of an imprint if my book costs $60.
Mhm. Are there gonna be-
Wow, this is a really valuable book. I better buy it.
Mhm.
I'm Harlan Ellison did that with the Boy and His Dog saga. It was
Oh,
like 40
mhm.
bucks, and I
Look
still
at
bought
him.
it.
Danny holding his ears.
Hold on, let me get my link for Paradox. And this is the book I already published, which I published
Is there an
12
ebook
years
on
ago now.
that?
Jesus.
And
And this is Paradox. Yeah, this is the first book I published.
No, is
Which
that
I am still very proud of. Don't
is
get me
there an
wrong.
ebook for
really
Paradox?
soon,
There is. Yeah, you can get the ebook version as well.
and really soon,
It's even cheaper.
in the near future, there will probably be a video of the author of this book signing it in person.
Yes.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is I would like to have a hard copy, but since my eyesight is so bad, I read a lot of stuff on Kindle because I could expand.
Oh yeah, you can
my-
make it bigger. I do that too, honestly.
Mhm.
I fought it for many, many years, but the further my eyes deteriorate, the more I have to rely
Same
on
here.
digital. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I hadn't read your book yet, is I'm going to have to go get some new glasses. If I try to read written, printed stuff, it gives me a real bad headache right now. I don't know. I'm going to have to get new glasses, I guess.
I might be able to like make a
Wow.
large print version.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that difficult. Thank you, Sarah. Copying my links. Links for everyone.
Sarah.
Paradox
The
is
box-
it's got a little bit of horror in it, but it's more science fiction than horror.
Mhm.
It's
So your other
mostly
book
science
comes on
fiction.
sale tomorrow, right?
No, Tuesday. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I
Yeah,
definitely
goes on-
want to get both.
Yeah, yeah.
I want a signed copy.
You
So
will
I'm
get your
saying-
signed copy
Yeah.
because I will be seeing you soon too. But I
Oh,
don't
cool.
know if I will. I won't have any physical copies on me because I can't.
Oh, I
actually
know
get
that.
them.
I know. God, publishers, what's with them these days? We used to give like their authors like boxes of their books so they could travel around and show them to people.
Yeah, like as soon as it publishes, I can order a box. But I
Mhm.
can't do that until it publishes. And like I said, I'm going on vacation the same day, so I'm not going to get that box until I get back.
Yeah, of
It's really
course,
annoying.
of course. Tell me about it. My dad wrote a book and he opened up the box and the publisher sent him somebody else's book. I think it was like
Oh,
Billy
man.
Graham. And my
Oh,
dad was
dear.
like, "What the F is this?" I'm like, "Billy effing Graham?"
I will say, as somebody who grew up loving Back to the Future, there is nothing quite like getting a book in the mail that is your book
Mhm.
that you published and being able to hold it in your hand. You know, that
Yeah,
actually is
yeah.
a very special feeling.
A match
Oh,
made
yeah.
in space.
Match made in space, exactly. You
There
know what
you
I'm referencing. Yeah.
It's like, when a musician hears his music on the radio for the first time, there's a special feeling about that.
Definitely.
Mhm.
And I actually, not to humble brag, but I kind of know what that feels like too, because I used to make music with my friend in college, and we actually did
Oh.
get a song played on the radio. But I would preface this by saying it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was on a it was on a station that specifically played obscure tracks from unknown people. So like,
Oh, that's cool
it was
though.
still cool though to hear my song on the radio, even though I
No,
was probably the only one
and
listening.
honestly, I was with a band called Bullets and Thorns, and one of our songs got played repeatedly on the radio.
Oh
That's pretty cool.
But
wow.
unfortunately, it was Dr. Demento.
Oh no.
Are you kidding? Oh my god, that is like so cool. That's cool.
I know.
I would wear that as a badge
You
of
want to
honor,
look
man.
it up?
Yeah,
You
me
wanna
too.
look it up? I'm singing and playing guitar on "Welcome to the Refrigerator."
Now I'll have to look that up.
By Bullets and Thorns. Good luck on finding a copy.
I never
Dang.
actually got any of my. I was in a blues band too. I never got any of that played on the radio, even
Oh,
though I put
bummer.
more work into that, honestly. But also, I was drunk half the time because blues
Oh
band.
well. Name me one blues musician who isn't.
Exactly.
I mean, you're doing the blues, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Did you go to the Crossroads?
ah!
No, that's why I'm still here
Boom.
past the age of 27. um, I remember I saw BB King live, and this was towards the end of his life.
Wow.
And he came out. He had to sit in a chair the entire time. He couldn't
Mhm.
walk anymore because diabetes had taken his feet. But as soon as he had his guitar in his hand, he transcended. He was a completely different person. So much life left in him just when he's playing his guitar. And
It's like he's
to me,
taken
he's a blues god.
it's like he's taken to a different world, or he's on a different planet at that point.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's why he did the cover of Footloose, only he pronounced it Footless.
I would say that's in poor taste, but I suspect BB King would actually like that joke. He has a very
I
you
know.
sense of humor.
I still feel ashamed. But I did it. Oh, mercy.
Of course, you like Dr. Demento. Everybody likes Dr. Demento.
Yeah. My
Have
husband
you
loves him.
guys seen the mockumentary on Weird Al?
Yes.
Not yet. No.
Rain Wilson plays
Yes.
Dr. Demento, and he is amazing as
He's
as
good.
Dr. Demento, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Indy, no, you didn't get Paradox because you're a channel member. I don't give out books to channel members. I give out books to people on my Patreon who are at the upper tier. So if you do want a signed copy, a free signed copy, become a Patreon. $8. That's all it takes.
I mean, you could get a lousy cup of coffee for that these days.
Yeah, true. I don't think you can do that at Starbucks though. But that's Starbucks.
No, Starbucks you have to take out a loan.
And you also have to learn Italian to order.
Oh, of course.
Then
Of
take.
course.
I would like a large. What?
Tall.
I
Don't
don't
speak
think, I,
this
don't think I've been
large.
to, I have not been to a Starbucks in 15 years.
Wow.
So yes, Indy, you will get your own copy, but
How about Apollo?
it'll be a while, Indy, because like I said, I'm going on vacation. I won't have any hard copies until I get back, and then I have to sign it and send it to you. So it'll be at least a month before you get it. But if you order it off of Amazon, you can have it as quickly as Amazon can get it to you. Yeah, I know you're a channel member, but channel members don't get free copies. Channel members only give me like $3 a month, I think. And look, I appreciate my channel members. I love my channel
You
members.
got to do something special for the channel members, like have a little sticker picture of your book made to send to them.
I could do that. Yeah. That's a good idea, Dan. I should.
Yeah,
come up with
a
something.
lot of YouTubers send out stickers.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mhm.
I will write that down too. This is why I keep a post-it note right here. Because again, memory of a goldfish.
It's like that commercial with the kid from SNL. Yeah.
Oh,
You like goldfish.
And Indy, before you get all pedantic on me, yes, I know goldfish actually have really good memories. It's just a cliche.
when I was in middle school, we had to do a science project, and a kid actually did like a Pavlov's dog thing with goldfish.
Neat.
Like
Wow.
one tank, he would flash a flashlight anytime it was feeding time, and the other he would like tap the tank, and he would show that if you tap the light tank, nothing will happen, but if you flash the flashlight, they'll all swim to the surface. 'Cause
That's
it's
pretty
scout
cool.
time. Yeah. So yeah, and
That
vice
is
versa.
neat.
That's neat. Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
perfect demonstration of what is it? Operant conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Took the words out of my mouth.
That's me showing off again with those SAT words.
Indeed.
And if we are getting pedantic, I'm not technically an English major, and I'm an indiscriminate major from the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. English major, just it's easier to say. Basically, I was in college for so long, they gave me my diploma and told me to go home.
Yeah. Well, I was in college too, but I decided not to go to graduation.
Why?
Yeah, I didn't walk either, honestly.
I didn't
really
want.
didn't
Yeah,
feel like
I
it.
didn't. I just wanted my degree and go. That's all I wanted because it's like and a job. That's all I really wanted. I
Yeah, me
didn't
too.
go for all that rah rah sis boom bah crap. To me, it was all kind of phony and pretentious.
Not a single job I've had in the 35 years since I've graduated had anything to do with my degree, nor has my college education influenced my hirer's decision to give me a chance.
Yeah.
Not a one.
I did
Wow.
actually, my first job I did actually get because of my college, and I get to work in the publishing industry. It was great, except it was the law book publishing company, and I don't think my skills as an English major helped me in the slightest.
Well, like I
See,
used to work for a
got
printing
lucky.
firm that I
I
used to
got
do
lucky.
key line paste up.
You got
Sorry,
lucky.
Danny.
The company I worked for actually sent me to college to learn the computer operations of the new machine they had installed.
Wow,
I was
Danny.
gone 6 months at a college learning how to use the computer systems. And while I was there, it was only one class a morning, so I had all day to nothing to do. I'd go sit in on other classes, and I probably picked up a lot of stuff that way.
Cool.
Yes, Carowin, if you become an $8 patron, you can get your own hard copy. It'll just, like I said, it'll just be like a month because of my stupid vacation being planned at the worst possible time.
Oh, Danny, that's cool though. You see, you could pick up things really quickly. Like me, sometimes I have to like hear it like 5 times, 10 times to get it through. You know.
I will say, colleges, if you don't feel like you need to go to college, don't. There's way too many people who go to college when they shouldn't. Go to a trade school, find something useful to do. I enjoyed my college experience. I did learn a lot in my college experience. I met my wife at college. I'm not going to poo-poo my own college experience, but I will say I didn't really need to go to college. It's like I could have done what I do without it. And I feel like we have this culture of everybody has to go to college. Everybody has to go to college. And I don't like that culture. And I
Yeah.
don't think it's right. And I think it's one of the reasons college keeps getting exponentially more expensive is because people feel like it's a requirement and it really
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, I always said this. It's like if I had my druthers, I'd be in plumbing. I mean, you always need a plumber.
Exactly.
And it's like, if I get messy and filthy, that's why there's soap. That's why you go out and you buy, deodorant and things like that.
Yeah, in this new age of AI, a plumber is a safer job than a writer.
You know
or
how you can
a
tell
designer.
you're really old? You know you're really old when you listening to people talk about going to college and you reminisce back in your brain and you remember that very first college course on using the computers and how they
The
taught you
punch cards.
how to use that really cool dial-up phone modem.
I know. It would bother the hell out of me. It's
I
like
remember I
nails.
spent a week setting up my 14.4 modem. Yeah.
Well, we didn't have our own computers. We went to the computer lab, and each person picked out their Apple II, and you worked on that for the afternoon.
Apple II.
Hey,
Apple II.
Jack. Welcome, Jack. Good
Oh,
to
hey,
see
Jack.
you.
Hi, Jack.
The pink bunny is here. in our comment section.
Love Jack.
Love you, Jack. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
They do a Big Bang Theory episode on the Apple II, and they talk about it like it's like a gramophone.
I had that was my first computer I had set up because back then Apple was the only one who was supporting graphic design programs back in the day. So I had one, and the screen was like so small, and here I am working on an 11 by 17 that I can't see
Right.
the whole thing because I have to only work one little portion of it at a time. That was really annoying.
Emily, without getting too political, yes, I completely agree. The whole student loan system is out of control and has been for a very long time.
Mhm.
Colleges are not incentivized to make the experience any more affordable. In fact,
Mhm.
quite the opposite. They're incentivized to make it more and more expensive.
More
every year.
money. Yeah.
And the whole concept of a student loan, that some 18-year-old is going to be smart enough to know that if he takes out or he or she takes out this loan for the amount of money that's going to take him 40 or 50 years to make, that's ridiculous. Expecting an 18-year-old to be able to make that decision
And all that money going back.
Especially when, like I said, we have this culture where college is mandatory, so that they feel like they have no choice but to do that. And then they get, a degree in gender studies. What good is that going to do you? Like, how is that going to make you money?
Did you see the John Mulaney routine where he talked about college?
No.
I was 18 years old, and they said, "Sign here. You'll be an English major." And the entire audience laughed.
Exactly.
I paid $120,000 to have somebody tell me to read Emily Bronte, and I didn't do it.
And then you think to yourself, if you're in my business, art supplies or food or rent, you make the call because everything is so expensive. Like professional art equipment is not cheap.
Sarah, you used CAD on an old Apple? I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah.
It's crazy as a CAD.
Exactly, Emily, and right. And if they feel like they can't afford it, they feel pressured to go into the military as a way to afford college, which that's even more ridiculous in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, man. That's why all my kids went to college.
No, I'm not saying anything bad about the military. I come from a military family. I'm just saying people shouldn't feel pressured to join the military. They should do it because they want to.
Not my family. It don't work that way. But you see, I was the only one who didn't join the military in my family because I'm rebellious. I was a hippie in the Black Sabbath. I wasn't having nothing to do with shooting at people if I could afford it.
I like that picture of you with the long hair. That was awesome. I was like, dang.
Up until the last 4 years, I had long hair down. That's my waistline.
So handsome.
Okay, Sarah, you mentioned shop. This is apropos of nothing, but since you mentioned shop, I will say, when my kid was picking courses for high school, he wanted to take nothing but math classes and science classes and, all this other like intellectual stuff because he really is smart. I know every parent says that, but my kid really is smart. Trust me, he's like 10 times smarter than I am. I made him take shop. I told him he has to do something where he has a hands-on experience of actually like making something. And okay, my son is a little autistic. He had to deal with the sensory overload because shop is loud. There's sawdust everywhere. It's rough if you're autistic. But I felt like he was at that age where I felt like he could deal with it. And all credit to my son. He coped with it well. He loved his shop class. He did great. It helped him overcome some of his autistic fears about sensory overload and how to cope with strategies and all that stuff. And he got a lot of hands-on experience on how to build things. And I feel like he learned a lot more in that class than he would have in like a third computer science class. So just for the record, shop is a great class. Never poo-poo shop class. I know you didn't. I'm just saying.
You ever see Chris?
I took shop class and I really found it annoying, and they wanted me to do too much. I did not like shop. So I made sure the next year I didn't take shop. I took home ec, and I was like the only guy in the class with 20 girls, so I was happy.
I did that too. It's a great strategy.
like home ec,
it worked out really well too.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, okay, good in cooking,
beat those
but I was bad in sewing. You wouldn't want to wear anything I sew. It looks like a science project more than it does a sweater.
When I was in high school, I took ceramics and I took jewelry making. Actually, and just like with home ec, I was pretty much the only guy in jewelry making. But I learned how to solder. you know, that's a very manly skill on a bigger scale. So
And I loved it because my mom and my grandma had taught me how to cook a lot of things, but after the home economics class, you learn how to properly cook and bake and everything. And as you grow into an adult male and find yourself in an apartment by yourself, it really is good to know how to prepare your own food, honestly.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like every man should learn how to cook, because I think that is one of the best things you can do in a relationship is cook. I don't know. Works for me.
I found out in the relationship with my first wife, it was really good that one of us knew how to cook.
Yeah. I
I
pretty much learned to cook from my first husband because his family owned a restaurant, so he was.
I
always
learned a
there.
little bit from like my mom and my grandma. I learned a little bit of cooking, like some of the basics. I didn't really learn how to cook until I got married, and I was obsessively watching the Food Network back when the Food Network actually showed cooking shows.
That's ironic because I learned to cook because of my mom and my grandmom, who were both bad cooks.
Oh.
So I learned to cook because of them, but in a different way.
See,
I'm not sure they even offer home ec anymore, Emily, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even a thing anymore.
It's funny because they're always saying, oh, grandma's cooking so good. My grandmother never cooked. She made reservations. She couldn't cook. She knew she couldn't cook. So she'd always, like, if she took us out as a big family with all my cousins and my mom and dad.
Honestly, I learned to cook mostly from my grandmother and my mother. And as I got older and took cooking classes and actually took a couple of gourmet cooking classes because I was working in an Italian restaurant for a while. And one of the things I learned is I don't see how my grandparents lived to be so old, the unhealthy way they were eating with all the butter and salt and nasty stuff.
That's all that Depression era eating. Seriously.
Salt and fat.
Yeah, because they wanted to keep their thing up.
My problem is when I was growing up, when I was a kid, my grandmother was an amazing cook.
That's cool.
She was fantastic. The problem is as I got older and I got to the age where I was learning how to cook as a teenager, my grandmother was starting to lose it. Sad to say. And like her cooking skills were deteriorating rapidly. And so I didn't have her at the right time to learn from her, if that makes any sense.
The best cook in our house, I mean, besides my mom, because I thought my mom's food was really good, is my aunt. She was the kosher cook of the house. She actually kept kosher. She had 2 kitchens, 2 dishwashers, everything on the upstairs, went downstairs. But man, could she cook potato pancakes. Oh my God. And then the beef brisket. Oh, I wish I could do that. And I can't for the life of me. I don't know how to do that.
Great big old box with index cards and full of recipes.
Oh yeah, I actually had one for my grandma.
When she died, my mama got it, and we could always go to that index, pull up anything we wanted to cook, and write it down and put, And then when my mom died, my sister got it, and she still got it, as far as I know. So I really want to go put something. I go to my sister's and go through the box.
That's
I'm
awesome.
hoping to find something like that, like in a garage sale or
these recipes went all the way back to the 1890s.
Wow.
Great grandma's box of recipes,
I make killer latkes, by the way.
Yep. I just say that because people don't know what latkes are.
Yeah.
That'd be a cheap way to get a book out. I ought to go grab that box of recipes and publish them.
I was going to say, I actually worked in a kitchen that had great potato pancakes, but the chef never made them. He always had the lackeys do it.
Wah, wah, wah.
I should have looked at the joke a little bit more. It was almost there. It was almost there, but
My problem when I was growing up, I was a latchkey kid. My mom was a nurse practitioner. She worked in the ER, so she was always busy. And she was always on call. And my dad was a lawyer, so he was always busy.
That's on call, yeah.
So dinners for us, for the most part, usually consisted of like pizza or takeout Italian food or takeout Chinese food. We didn't really have home cooked meals very often. When we did, it was usually special.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I missed out on that. And that's one of the things that one of the other reasons I learned how to cook is because I knew we were going to have a kid or two, and I wanted to provide that experience to my kid that I didn't have. So.
See, I like shop. Actually, I'm like one of those girls who love making things. So I like that. And of course, I do art, and I've loved art all my life. So
Yeah.
I pretty much aced those classes. Like I took everything in our art
That's
section
awesome.
of our high school. Yeah, I always had my stuff displayed in our gallery windows through the art department. So it was like that was just like my claim to fame in high school.
I'll tell you what, though, auto shop, if you took that in high school, it was a nightmare and a greasy under your fingernails.
I
Disgusting.
would do the woodworking and stuff like that. I never worked with the cars, which is like something I probably should have done because you could learn so much and take that with you as a valuable source.
I did learn from my grandfather. He actually was like building an engine in his garage. I learned a little bit.
Wow,
Yeah. That was
that's
fun.
cool. That's real cool.
Was he from John Carpenter's The Thing? And was
Yes, he was really building a flying saucer. Yeah.
exactly. Where did he get the parts?
I don't know.
I love that movie, but where did he get those parts?
There's like this throwaway line about him like stealing parts from the cat, but he stole like what 5 fuses and some wires. That's not enough to build a flying saucer, man.
I do better with the DeLorean, thank you.
And it's funny, the engine was a smaller replica of the other engine, so it's not even like he got those parts because it would have been bigger. How did he do that? Love the movie, but that always bothered me. I'm like, where did he get those pieces? Sorry.
So anyway, we're coming up on the 1.5 hour mark.
Sure.
Like I said, my book, The Caves of Solace by E. McGill, will be available on Amazon on Tuesday. Please get a copy, and please write a review on Amazon, especially a 5-star review, though that is not required. Any review is fine. And yeah, that's about it. I will be on again tonight with Thrash and Dan. And is Tracy going to be there?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
What I done for tonight's show is I told Sarah to make a list of her favorite comedy movies because she come up with this, and we're going to talk about what she brings up from her list, so none of us have to do work.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Nice.
And then we got a special word from Dave Sunstorm, I think.
Okay, that'll be fun.
I love Sarah. She's great.
And that'll be my last live stream for a few weeks because, like I said, I'm going on vacation. So I do have a couple of videos lined up to be dropping starting in half an hour. I've got the longest video I've ever made on Stalker, the Russian sci-fi. Since I've done so many guilty pleasures lately, I felt like I should do an art piece.
Nice.
I am desperate for a sale. I please. Do I have to cry? Because I will cry and beg. I'm not above
No.
Remember, Doug, send me that trailer for your book, and I'll put it up on all my channels too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can do that.
Or several of them.
And yeah, catch you on the flip side. And so 2 weeks from now, I have a review of the Valley of Gwangi, which I've already made. It's already done. It'll drop, and so I don't have to worry about my YouTube channel while I'm away.
Cool.
Thank you, Jack. Good to see you again.
Jack.
And I guess on that note, I'm going to end the stream. Thank you, everybody, for being here to talk about my favorite subject, myself. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you, and good night.
Hit that like button.
That was great.